In 2025, a lot of things changed in my life, and I found myself in that very familiar place of asking, what am I actually doing? I've never really been the kind of person who can just train for the sake of training. I need a reason, a deadline, and a bit of pressure. So this time, I wanted to prove to myself that I could actually commit to something. So I did what any sane person would do and signed up for a Half Ironman.
Shit.
Which almost immediately raised a fairly obvious problem. I had absolutely no idea how to train for one. Coaching plans exist, but they also cost money, and considering how much my entrance fee was, I decided to try something a little different.
Why don't I let AI do the plan for me?
Oh yeah, and the event was only 10 weeks away.
That being said then, I think it's time I go out on a run.
The first thing ChatGPT did was ask me for everything. My current fitness, what equipment I owned, and when the race was. And then it built a complete plan around all of it.
First session done from ChatGPT. Crushed it, nice and easy 8K, 5:45-ish pace. Yeah, mission achieved, I'd say.
A Half Ironman is a 1.9 kilometre swim, followed by a 90 kilometre bike ride, and then a half marathon, all in one go. It's safe to say it had its work cut out for it.
We've come down to the sea to do my first swim in a wetsuit. It's not looking fucking warm out there by any stretch of the imagination.
Glenn's trying to be all professional because he's training for this Ironman. You can hear him shouting at me, but I'm not listening to him. I'm going to hijack all of his videos from here on out. How was that, Glenn?
Wetsuit's a game changer.
Today's Sunday the 20th. I have a questionable moustache at the moment. Yesterday I did 2 cycles as requested by the AI gods once again. 1 hour cycle to work, and then I did an hour and a half cycle to go get my car from the mechanics. In total it was about 45 Ks, not as quick as I'd like, but it was way hillier. In the second ride alone, over an hour and a half and 25 kilometers, I did 500 meters of elevation, which is more than I'll do over the entire 90-kilometer bike course in Belgrade.
At this point, I bet you're wondering, why on earth did you choose Serbia, Glenn? Well, given the amount of time I had to train for the 70.3, I didn't exactly want to make it harder than it needed to be. So I made sure to book the calmest swim, flattest bike and run with the most mild weather possible, and sure enough, I landed on Belgrade as my event.
I've had football this morning, and now I have to go and run between 16 and 18K according to ChatGPT. I'm also on about 4 hours sleep from last night because it was Saturday and I did have a few drinks. Rules are the rules, can't skip a run. If I'm tired, if anything, it's probably for the best because it means that I'm going to be tired when I come off the bike and doing the half anyway, so I might as well get used to it. I don't want to do this, but we move. I'm not going to be able to listen to music on the Half Ironman obviously, so I should probably start training without music soon, but today is not that day.
Just clocked in the 16K. Ooh, no, not fun. Okay, welcome to week 3. The biggest thing I noticed in the last couple of weeks training with ChatGPT is that it doesn't do dates very well, and it doesn't do moving things around very well. Obviously, sometimes life gets in the way. You need to move which session you're doing on which day based on pool availability, which days you can go out on the bike. I went out on my big ride on Sunday and immediately got myself a puncture of the tyre and the inner tube. So I'm due to go out on a bike ride today. I can't quite do that based on the fact that I still haven't had my new tyre arrive, my inner tube's here. But anyway, so I can't do that today. Physically, I could get on the spin bike, but I'd rather be out on the road. So I'm moving a couple of things around today, and it's safe to say ChatGPT just got very confused with what my day looks like. I'm sort of taking the week by week sessions, but moving them around as I need to, because if I ask ChatGPT to do it and recognize it, then it panics about the dates. Certainly, that's the downfall of having AI as a coach, is that apparently AI is not going to take over because it doesn't know what day of the week it is and what date it is.
As I settled into my program, I noticed a big weakness for me was the bike. And seeing as it takes up roughly 50% of the time of any triathlon, I made a bit of an investment into that and created my very own pain cave.
We've managed to set up in here, in this sort of nerd den that I have, my bike on a new Decathlon Van Ryzen sort of Wahoo Kickery Zwifty thingy-majiggy. I'm due to do 90 minutes worth of riding today, so let's start with 15 minutes, get used to Zwift, and then I'll set in for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm happy I did a 15 minutes to start because I need to A, adjust my cleats, and B, I need to put something on the floor. If that's 15 minutes in, Ryan, I'm stealing the fan. Hot, 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 hot. Yes. Okay, so I took all of the dirt off of that, and I've installed that, so we now have turbo fan mode to keep me nice and cool, because obviously outside I would have wind. In here, no wind.
Could have just turned the fans off to say that, bud. Anyway, it was a great addition to the training arsenal, but as you can probably see, I
lose a monumental amount of sweat for every hour I'm on the bike, for every hour I run, and probably in the pool, or in this case in the sea. Anyway, I was having issues with cramping. It's probably because the amount of sweat I'm losing. Now, I've always been a very sweaty person, and when you combine that with doing endurance sports or triathlons or anything where you're bricking together lots of cardio, you're only spelling negative things if you don't then refuel properly. So
Chat's biggest recommendation for this was a high sodium electrolyte carb mixture, which very quickly became part and parcel of every session. Alongside this, it was already starting to plan my general race day nutrition.
I'm aiming for 75 to 90 grams of carbs per hour, plus 500 to 750 ml of fluids per hour, plus 600 to 1,000 milligram of sodium per hour.
Basically, there was an awful lot of consumption across the race, as you'd imagine, so I tested it out on a nearly full distance run.
We've come to the track because the run in Belgrade is immensely flat. It's about 30 meters of elevation over the 21 Ks of the half marathon, so flat track should be perfect for that. One lap then, boy.
And then also a cycle to practice for the race on a Zwift simulation of the exact cycling course.
Here we go, Ironman 70.3, more power. Well, I've not started yet, so thank you.
To top it off, I even booked a little tester triathlon local to me in Brighton a few weeks pre-race to get confident with transitions and a full race day experience.
I'm a bit nervous for Sunday. The sea is obviously a bit more ruthless when it comes to open water swimming than a lake will be. They're having a good time.
Good morning. Unlike my hair, the Brighton weather is quite calm this morning, considering last night they made the decision to cancel the swim portion of the triathlon, which is a bit disappointing based on the fact that this was going to be my sort of only test of transitions and stuff before Belgrade. Anyway, nonetheless, the plan for today is as follows now. We're doing a 5k run, then the 40k bike, and then a 10k run. So basically just a glorified training session for me, but with some crowd. Yeah, I'm excited. It'd be nice to practice at least transition 2, or what would be transition 2 for me, I suppose, twice, but once the reverse way. Gone full Tash, Top Gun Tash mode, ready for this.
We up now, believe it. Got the real thing whenever you need it.
Okay. So I smashed out the duathlon and was pretty happy with my times considering it's not what I was training for. I fed the times back into ChatGPT anyway, and like me, it was starting to become rather concerned I hadn't actually swam the distance in a wetsuit yet or trained in open water. Off then I was sent to a lake a mere fortnight before Belgrade for my first big boy swim, where I learnt a pretty necessary lesson about wetsuit chafing.
Okay, it is that time. We are now into race week. I have to do a taper this week, obviously, so there's a few sessions that I have. Nothing crazy, nothing difficult, just keeping the body moving. But most importantly, I'm about to ask Chat about my carb loading and my nutrition for this week leading up to the race on Sunday. Obviously, it's my understanding from things that I've seen in the past that I should be carb loading this week. So lots of pastas and things like that.
Then it was race weekend. I flew out with my bike, which was carefully loaded off the plane, checked out the Airbnb and met some friends and family to get my first look at the finish line and the lake.
So I'm just cycling my way down now to the transition area to put my bike away and my transition bags. Just whipping along, and look, there's the massive bridge with which I can't remember workout, I think it's 5 passings over it, which is pretty sick.
This moment felt pretty surreal. 10 weeks of immensely hard graft, and there was nothing more that my coach could do for me.
This is the transition area there on 411.
It coached me right down to the wire, even telling me what to put in my transition bags. But there was nothing more it could do for me now, and on race day, it was just on me. We got back and went out for one last carb load meal, and I made the decision to once again don the Top Gun Tash for good luck. And just like that, it was race day. The sun was shining, the atmosphere was electric, and I changed into my wetsuit ready to give the swim my best. I was into the crystal clear water like a flash, quickly getting into a rhythm in the warm water for my 800-metre outlap of the lake before turning around to head back to the pontoon. I shocked myself when I saw my time coming out of the water. I'd smashed out a 40-minute swim on only my second time in a lake and was starting to feel like the dog's bollocks. That was until the bike. Two out and backs on the isolated and open motorway roads felt like a wind tunnel at points, and it was starting to heat up a lot. By the time I made it back from the cycle, clocking in a 3-hour 21-minute ride, the temperature had reached a whopping 36 degrees. I donned my running shoes and a cap and started feeling out my legs in the first few Ks, trying to keep my heart rate down. 5 kilometers in, my stomach was not a happy bunny.
I'm so desperate for a poo.
Maybe ChatGPT's nutrition plan had let me down. I carried on, managing to spare the crowd of any prime Paula Ratcliffe moments.
Come on, Glenn! Why are you going so slow?
And kept chipping away at the kilometres.
Lap, brother. One more lap. 3K left.
Put it in, Glenn, put it in, come on! Come on!
I'd done it. 10 weeks trained fully by ChatGPT. I'd crossed the line running a 2-hour, 8-minute half marathon and clocking a total time of 6 hours, 22 minutes and 32 seconds. I suppose there's only one thing for it. We've done a half together, chat. What do you say to coaching me to the full Ironman?